The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified. English series. Read by Duong Hai Thai Pumar. Chapter 26. Lost in the Cave. Now, to return to the share of Tom and Benki in the picnic. They danced along the passage with the rest of the children, visiting the familiar wonders of the cave, such as Admiran's Palace and the Candle Hall. When the game of hide and seek began, Tom and Benki played until they lost interest in it. Then they wandered down winding passages, holding their candles up and reading the network of names, dates, and address done in the candle smoke on the rocky walls. They went on and on, smoked their own names under an overhanging shelf and proceeded. Presently they came to a place where a little stream of water had, throughout the centuries, from a filmy waterfall in a sparkling stone. Tom placed his small body behind it to light it up for Benki, and found that it had a source of steep, natural stairway, unclosed between narrow walls. At once, the ambition to be a discoverer seized him. They made a small mark for future guidance, and won this way and that, far down into the depth of the cave. In one place they found a wide hall, from the roof of which hung a great number of shining white pillars of stone. After wondering and admiring, they left it by one of the numerous passages that opened into it. It soon brought them to a lovely spring, the basins of which seemed to be decorated with sparkling diamonds. It was in the midst of a cave, where great columns rose from the floor to meet those from the roof. Some had already joined. The children marveled at this resort of the castles, for the drift of centuries under the roof bars had packed themselves together, thousands in a bench, and they came flocking down in hundreds, rushing fervently at the cold candles. Tom seized Benki's hand and hurried her into the first passage. They came to, and by returning to every new passage they at last got rid of the troublesome creatures. Then Tom found an underground lake which stretched away until its shape was lost in the shadow. We want to explore its borders, but decided it would be best to sit down and rest for a time. Now, for the first time, the stillness of the place, its damp and cold hand upon the minds of the children. "I wonder how long we've been down here, Tom," said Benki. "We'll better go back." "Yes, I think we'll better. Can you find the way, Tom? It's all mixed up to me." "I think I can find it, but the bats, if they put out both our candles, we'll be in an awful difficulty. Let's try some other way." They started off along a passage, looking at each new opening to see if there was anything familiar about it, but they were all strange. "Oh, Tom, never mind the bats," said Benki at last. "Let's go back that way. We seem to get worse and worse all the time." Tom stopped. "Listen," said he. The silence was so deep that even their own breathing seemed loud. Tom shouted. The shout went echoing down the empty adventure and died out in the distance in a French sound that was just like smoking laughter. Oh, don't do that again, Tom. It's too horrid, said Becky. It is horrid, but I'd better, Becky. They might hear us, you know, and he shouted again. The might was even a greater horror than the ghostly laughter. It confessed that hope was dying. They listened, but there was no result. Tom turned back, but soon a certain distance in his manner revealed another fool fake to Becky. He could not find his way back. Oh, Tom, you didn't make any marks. Becky, I was a fool. No, I can't find the way. It's all made up. Tom, we are lost. We are lost. We can never get out of this awful place. Oh, why did you leave the others? She sank to the ground and rushed into such a dreadful storm of tears that Tom feared that she might too mad. When her weeping became a little less violent, he begged her not to give in hope. Then he began claiming himself. She told him not to talk like that again, for she was as much to blame as he was, she said. So they moved on aimlessly, for all they could do was to keep moving. After a time, Tom took Becky's candle and blew it out. Words were not needed. She knew that Tom had a whole candle and 3 or 4 pieces in his pocket yet. He must use as little as possible. Then the children began to feel weary, but they tried to pay no attention. Moving was at least progress and might have a good result, but to sit down was to invite certain death. At last Becky's weak limbs refused to carry her any farther. They sat down. They talked of home, of the friends there, and above all, of the sunlight. Weariness weighed so heavy on Becky that she fell asleep, and Tom was grateful. He sat lost in thought of happier times. When Becky woke up, she gave a great little laugh, but she stopped it suddenly, and a groan followed. Oh, how could I sleep? I wish I had never woke. No, Tom, I don't look so. I won't say that again. They rose and wandered along, hand in hand and hopeless. A long time after this, Tom said that they must go quietly and listen for dripping waters because they must find a spring. They found one, and Tom said that they must rest again. Both were cruelly tried yet. Becky thought that she could go on a little farther. She was surprised to hear Tom disagree. Nothing was said for some time. Then Becky broke the silence. Tom, I am so hungry. Tom took a big cake from his pocket and divided it, and Becky ate with good appetite. Tom pretended to eat his share. There was an abundance of cold water with which they finished the food. Soon Becky suggested that they should move on again. Tom was silent, and then he said, Becky, we must stay here, where there is water to drink. This a little piece of candle is overlaid. Becky cried again. At length she said, Tom, well, Becky, they'll miss us and search for us. Perhaps they're searching for us now. Why, of course, they are. When would they miss us, Tom? When they got back to the boat, suppose. Tom, it might have been dark then. Would they notice that we hadn't come? I don't know. Anyway, your mother would miss you as soon as they got home. A frightened look in Becky's face made Tom remember she was not to have gone home that night. The Sunday morning might be half spent before Mr. Thatcher's discovered that Becky was not at Mr. Harper's. In a moment, a new burst of grief from Becky showed Tom that the thought in his mind had struck hers also. The children fastened their eyes upon the bit of candle and watched it melt slow and pitilessly away. They saw the little flame rise and fall, reach and fall, and then suddenly the horror of utter darkness enveloped them. How long afterwards it was that Becky awoke to find herself carried in Tom's arms, never could tell. Tom said that it might be Sunday or perhaps Monday. The house crowded by, and again the captives felt faint with hunger. Tom shared of the cake and devoured and eaten, but seemed to leave them hungrier than before. Presently Tom said, "Shh, did you hear that?" Both held their breath and listened. There was sound like the faintest far-off shout. Instantly, Tom answered it. Again, the sound was heard, apparently a little nearer. "They're coming. Come along, Becky. We are all right now." The joy of the prisoner was almost unbearable. Their speech was slow, however, because peace were ready command and has been guard again. They soon came to one. Tom lay flat and searched down, but he could not touch the bottom. It might be 3 feet deep, it might be 100. They must stay there until the research came. They listened. The distant shouting were growing more distant. A moment or two more, and they had gone, although together. The heartbreaking mystery of it. Tom shouted until he threw it, but it was of no use. He talked hopefully to Becky, but a long time passed and no sound came. The children faced their way back to the spring. The time dragged on. They slept again and awoke hungry and miserable. Now Tom had an idea. It would be better to export some of the side pieces than to remain idle. He took his kite string from his pocket, tied one end to the big stone, and started with Becky unwinding the line as they climbed along. At the end of 20 steps, the passage ended in a pit. Tom faced below and then as far round the corner as he could. At that moment, a hand holding a candle appeared from behind a rock. Tom gave a glad shout, and instantly that hand was followed by the body. It belonged to Redskin Jones. Tom was turned to stone. To his immense relief, the spaniel failed. Tom told Becky that he had only shouted for luck, and they claved back to the spring. But hunger and misery after a time make one forget one's fears. Another wearisome wait and other long sleep both changes. The children awoke sick with hunger. Tom believed that it must be Wednesday or Thursday or even Friday or Saturday now. He proposed to export another place. He felt willing to reach Redskin Joe and all other terrors, but Becky was so weak that she could not be roused. She said that she could wait now. Where she was, she died. It would not be long. She told Tom to export if he chose, but she begged him to come back from time to time and speak to her. She made him promise that when her last house came, she would stay by her and hold her hand until all was over. With a lump in his throat, Tom pretended to be confident of finding the stairs or a way out of the cave, and with the kite string in the hand. When crawling down one of the places, streaked with hunger and sorrow and visions of the day coming fate,